Hi, you guys. It's Yaz, and today I want to clear up the confusion about whether narcissists go after weak or strong people. There's a lot of confusion on the internet where some people say, oh, narcissists, they always target strong people. They target strong people. And then other people say, no, they don't target strong people. They target weak or vulnerable people. So which is it? Well, I'm going to clear it up today, okay? First of all, a narcissist's number one priority is to get that supply, whatever that supply is. It could be money, it could be sex, it could be a place to live, or it could just be attention, all right? It could be attention. Narcissists don't want to have to put a lot of work into something and get no return, okay? So if they're dealing with a strong person, now let's define strong, shall we? Okay? Because strong could mean different things to different people. When I say strong, I say somebody who has strong boundaries, somebody who doesn't give in, doesn't give multiple chances. You know, when somebody breaks their boundaries, that's it. The narcissist is out. So if a narcissist has somebody like that with strong boundaries, where do you think that narcissist is going to go? They're not going to go anywhere with somebody who says, you broke my boundaries, now you're out, okay? And the narcissist is smart enough to realize that. So you guys, they're not targeting those type of people. Now, when people say, oh, they go after strong people, what I think the confusion is they go after successful people, but that doesn't necessarily mean that somebody who is successful is strong emotionally. Somebody could be very successful in their life, be a professional, a doctor, a lawyer, have a business, just do really well for themselves in life. But emotionally, they could be weak or vulnerable or very empathic type of person, okay? I coach people like this. I've coached doctors. I've coached lawyers. I've coached professional people that got entwined with a narcissist. And you say to yourself, you know, how do these PhD women end up with these narcissistic GED men, okay? And they automatically assume, okay, because somebody's a professional, they're mentally and emotionally strong. But when it comes to romantic lives and personal lives, it's a whole other thing. It's a whole other thing, okay? So what narcissists go after is supply, number one, and somebody they can manipulate, all right? A narcissist won't waste their time on somebody who they feel they cannot manipulate. Let's say they go after somebody who knows the game. They know they can't go anywhere, okay? They know they can't go anywhere. It's like on a dating app. I'm going to give you guys an example. It's like on a dating app when you have somebody that says to you, oh, I think I'm falling in love with you. And you play them right back and you say, oh, me too. I think I'm falling in love with you too. You know what that narcissist is going to do? They're going to put LOL. You know why they're going to put LOL? Because now they know you know their game, okay? And what do they generally do? They move on to somebody else, okay? They move. Oh, how do I know? Because I've done this and I've been through this, all right? And they laugh. They laugh once they know that you know the game that they're playing, all right? So we need to define strong, okay? Strong doesn't necessarily mean somebody who's successful, somebody who has a lot of money. That's not strong. When we define strong, the way I'm defining it is somebody who, won't allow manipulation. Somebody who, when someone gaslights them, they say, not today, Satan. Now I don't deal with you, or now I distance myself from you. The narcissist is not going to go anywhere with somebody like that. And they know it. And the narcissist, like I said, their main priority is that supply. Okay? They don't want to put time into things where they don't get that return. So, yeah, do narcissists like to break down strong people? Sure they do. Sure they do. And they might get a high off that. But if they are trying to break down a strong person, it's because they're after a supply that they have, okay? So they may put that effort in to try to break them down. And also they might feel like they're more clever because they can break them down, all right? They could break them down. But narcissists know who they can play with and who they can't. So the number one objective of the narcissist is to target supply. And just because somebody has a very good grade A supply, they have a lot of money, let's say it's a money thing, a supply they're after, doesn't necessarily mean that that person is a strong person. Because like I've said before, I have coached people that are very successful and strong in their careers. But when it comes to their social life or their romantic life, they're a big softy. They're people that have a lot of heart. They're people that maybe are desperate for love, and they have given chance after chance after chance after chance, all right? So they're not strong in their boundaries, okay? And that was one of the reasons why the narcissist targeted them, okay? Because the narcissist knew that they were a softy, okay? And when I say a softy, I mean somebody who has heart, somebody who's going to say, somebody who, when the narcissist gives them a sob story, they may feel bad for the narcissist or give them multiple chances because they feel bad for them because that person has heart, okay? They could be an empathic type of person that feels for somebody, and they are maybe naive. You know, there's plenty of people. See, let me explain something to you guys. There's two kinds of, strong or smart type of people in the world. There's people that are book smart and intellectually smart, and then there's people that are street smart. And if you are both, you are a dynamo, okay? You are a dynamo. If you're very intelligent and book smart, and you're also street smart, you are a very dangerous person that not many people are going to be able to get over on you, okay? And that comes with experience. A lot of times people don't have that unless they've had life experience and they've had to go through many different kinds of situations in their life, all right? That's not just given to somebody who's young, generally, all right? It takes experience of having to go through things to have that kind of intelligence. So the reason that I'm making this distinction is because, I think a lot of people, they think, strong is like somebody made a comment and they said, narcissists don't go after losers. It's not necessarily whether narcissists go after losers or not after losers, okay? That is a very ignorant comment because it's not about losers. It's about the fact of the supply. And I know for a fact, narcissists will go after disabled people. I've seen it. They will go after widows and widowers for money. They will go after single parents for money. All right. It's not necessarily that they're a loser. It's the fact that they are in a situation in their life that makes them vulnerable. And the narcissist loves nothing more than to target vulnerable people, because vulnerable people are more apt to let the narcissist get away with what they get away with, because they're going through something themselves and they can't fight the narcissist the way, let's say, somebody who's not dealing with those kind of issues could fight them. All right. If you're dealing with children, your time is monopolized by taking care of your children. Your time is not your own. Maybe you want a love interest in your life and you're trying really hard with somebody like the narcissist. And so you're going to try to make it work because of your situation, okay, that you're in. You're not in the same situation as a single person with no kids. It's harder, all right? So you try to make it work more with that person because of the situation that you're in, because your options are less. your options are less. So a lot of times narcissists will target people who don't have a lot of options, okay? Because then they know that they will be everything to that person and that person will be codependent on the narcissist. A narcissist doesn't want to target somebody who's got a lot of options because they know that it will be hard to break that person and make that person codependent on them. It will be a waste of their time, okay? A waste of that time. So this is what I'm trying to say to you. It's not necessarily about strong, weak people. It's about number one, supply, and number two, if the narcissist feels they can manipulate you, all right? If they feel they can manipulate you. So a narcissist is not just going to sit there and say, I think I'm going to go after this strong person just because I want the high of it, all right? No, because they know the narcissists are very good at studying people. They know that if that person has strong boundaries, they're not going to get anywhere. Narcissists don't play the same games on everybody. When they know that somebody has strong boundaries and is not going to tolerate their nonsense, they won't bother with them. Or what they like to do is they like to align with these people, against a common enemy. They want strong friends that they could use to gang up and target an enemy, all right? But the thing is, it's not so much that narcissists will, whether they target losers or they target successful people. The bottom line is somebody who, quote unquote, somebody wants to call a loser could have a supply, all right? Could have a supply. They could be, quote unquote, a loser, but maybe they inherited a lot of money from their family. And in which case that narcissist would target them because, again, the priority is the supply. All right. And this is where so much misinformation is out there. So you're wrong. Narcissists do target weak and vulnerable people if they have a good supply. You can't put it in a box. You can't say, they just go after strong people or they just go after, losers. No, it's what's the supply that narcissist is after and if they feel they can manipulate to get that supply. But if that person is strong and is, let's say the narcissist tries to lie to them and that person says, no, not today, Satan. Now I don't deal with you. The narcissist is not going to put their energy into that. It's a waste of their time. Okay. It's a waste of their time. So again, when we say what narcissists target, they target supply and they target, they study you and they see how much you are aware of the game. Okay. If you're somebody who's very, very savvy and knows the game, again, a narcissist is not going to want to deal with you because they figure their manipulation is not going to work on you. But if you're somebody who's one of these people that thinks you get married and you live in a white picket fence and you have 2.5 kids and, life is all about lust and everything is lust and this and that, and you're very naive and you think marriage is like Cinderella. Yeah, narcissists are going to love you. They're going to love you because they're going to build up a fantasy in your head where you think that, they are your soulmate. Oh, baby, I love you so much. Oh, baby. All they got to do is tell you whatever you want to hear. And you will fall for it if you're that type of person who thinks you're living a romance novel. That's not real life. But unfortunately, there's a lot of people that are naive to that and think that, there's a lot of people that say to me, well, I'm going to just follow my heart. I'm going to follow my heart. And most times they're not following their heart. They're following their lust. And see, that's the difference. They're lusting after the narcissist. It's not love because you can't love somebody who treats you abusively. It's not love when a narcissist is devaluing you. It's not love when a narcissist is not calling you back or ignoring you or dismissing you or giving you silent treatments. That's not love. But a lot of times people think it's love because they feel a chemistry or a lustful connection with the narcissist. That is lust. Lust is a sin. All right. So lead us not into temptation. And that's exactly what happens to these people. They think they're in love. They're not in love. They're in lust with the narcissist. Okay. And then when the narcissist disappoints them, they're blindsided. They're like, oh, I thought we were in love. I thought the narcissist loved me. No, you were in lust, and the narcissist built up that lust and that fantasy, and then they walked away. They walked away because they weren't sincere. You were dealing with somebody who was playing you, okay? They played you for maybe sex, maybe money, maybe a place to stay, or maybe just your attention, all right? But the bottom line is this, you guys. Remember what I told you. It's not, just because somebody has a lot or is successful doesn't make them necessarily an emotionally strong people. There's many successful people that are emotionally weak, okay? They could be very good in their careers, but emotionally, they could be unlucky in love because they're emotionally weak or they have low boundaries, all right? So that's where all the confusion is. Strong doesn't necessarily mean, successful, all right? So the problem is, narcissists, if they feel that you're too strong, they're not going to bother with you because a narcissist's time is valuable to them. They don't care about your time. They'll waste your time for months, years. They'll string you along, breadcrumb you. But the narcissist's time to them is valuable. And they're going to put their time where there is a supply that they feel they can manipulate. So if they feel they can manipulate someone, how strong do they think you are? Ask yourself that. Ask yourself that. If they think that they can manipulate you, how strong could you be? Not strong at all, right? Because if they think they can manipulate you, then they don't think you're strong, okay? Because if you are that strong, then they know they're not going to get anywhere with you. So that whole reasoning is off base when people say they target strong people, all right? If they targeted strong people, then how are they ever going to get over on somebody who's a strong person? They wouldn't, and they know that, okay? They wouldn't. They may like somebody, they like a challenge. See, this is where you have to differentiate again. See, narcissists love a challenge. And like I said, they would love to break down a strong person because it'll give them a high and make them feel superior. But strong, we're going to use that term loosely because if you're too strong, they won't target you, okay? Because they know that you can't be manipulated. So they may feel that, you are strong to some degree, but they wouldn't bother unless they felt that they could manipulate you, okay? Unless they felt that they can manipulate you. And it's not really necessarily whether they target strong or weak. They target supply. The narcissist is going to target the supply, the best supply with the least amount of work, okay? That's what they're going to target. The best supply with the least amount of work. That's why a lot of times they'll leave you not necessarily for somebody better, but maybe for somebody easier, okay? The new supply is not necessarily better than you. It's just that they're easier to deal with, okay? Maybe they're not challenging the narcissist. Maybe they're giving them supply and the narcissist is not being questioned. So that's a lot easier for the narcissist. So the narcissist is going to take the path of least resistance to get the biggest return of supply. And that's how it works, you guys. So narcissists will target people that are weak and vulnerable if they have a supply that they want. And that's usually a money supply, okay? That's usually a money supply. They could also target young people because they feel they are naive, okay? They could also target older people who are lonely and desperate for money, all right? They could target somebody in another city because they want to move to their city. So it's all dependent on what the narcissist is after. But what I will tell you is that they're not going to waste their time unless they feel in their heart, even though narcissists have a black heart, unless they feel that they could get over on that person. So if they feel they can break them down and they can get over on that person, then obviously they know that that person is not too strong. Okay? So there goes your theory about how narcissists target strong. All right? Because if they're too strong, the narcissist knows it's not going to work. All right? It's not going to work, and the narcissist is going to get discarded because the strong person has strong boundaries and will kick that narcissist to the curb when they recognize lying, gaslighting, blame shifting, and not taking accountability. Okay? So I hope that helps you. If it does, hit the subscribe button, share the podcast. If you're looking for one-on-one coaching, check out the link in the bio. I have limited time. Also, check out my YouTube at the Game Exposed podcast, where I have almost 7,000 videos. Check out my TikTok at The Game Exposed. Facebook is The Game EXP123. And Instagram is The Game EXP123. And have a great day.